Many people across the world have been grieved by the news of Prince Philip's passing. He will be remembered as a constant support to the Queen, a passionate conservationist, and an icon of British continuity in a fast-changing world. I have been particularly saddened by this loss, as I owe a personal debt to Prince Philip. Back in the 1980s, I went camping with a few friends in the mountains of Snowdonia. It was freezing cold and misty. There was a driving wind, and rain which would have poured down had it not been for the wind blowing it sideways. On our first day, with visibility down to about 50 yards, no landmarks in view, and steep rocky cliffs possibly hidden from view just out of sight, we got lost. We had only the vaguest idea of where we were meant to be, and in desperation we decided to pursue a consistent course across the mountain slopes in the hope of meeting up with our planned route. So one of us used his compass to point to a spot we should all walk to. We walked there, he caught up with us, and off we went again. We were wet through and anxious, and our spirits were very low. At one point, as we rested for a little while in this dreary and frightening landscape, one of our number felt that this gloomy spell had to be broken, and started larking about, singing and dancing about how cold it was. And we all had a laugh. Had anyone been there to see us, we would have looked very odd, mocking our troubles in the middle of nowhere. But it did us good. We went ahead with our ad-lib navigation trick, and shortly after, we got back on track and finished our route in good time, striding down to our campsite in a valley in warm sunshine, and with a sense that if we could get through that, we could get through anything. Before that trip, I didn't know just how bad despair and fear felt, and I also didn't know how strong is our capacity to overcome them. I've often looked back on that moment of despair and the way we turned it around by force of will. And I have Prince Philip to thank for this, as the trip we were on was an expedition for the Duke of Edinburgh's Gold Award. I remembered that moment when I met Prince Philip in St James's Palace a few months later. I thank him now for this gift of self-knowledge, and I salute him for offering similar experiences to generations of young people who took part in this scheme which he created because of his firm faith in the young. Pirkei Avot says, Ezehu Chacham halomed mikol adam. A wise person is one who can learn from anybody. Prince Philip taught me an aspect of the divinity of the human soul. God created the world from nothing and then breathed his soul into every human being so that we could be like him. Like him, we can take a moment when we have nothing and create something positive and beautiful from it. Me'ayin yavo Ezri, a verse from Psalm 121, can be translated to mean, my help comes from nothing. It is these moments of pure emptiness that can be our biggest help, because they trigger in us the divine spirit of creation, yesh me'ayin, something out of nothing. This week, we also look ahead to Yom Ha'atzmaut, our annual celebration of Jewish statehood. Those heroic, mighty pioneers of 1948 were spurred on by the spirit of Me'ayin Yavo Ezri, that determination to create a beautiful state in our ancestral homeland against a desperate background of smouldering and bloody hostility, with memories of annihilated families and the ruin of European Jewry still tugging at their hearts. Like God, and with God's help, they created something out of nothing. Let us all reflect on the Prince's passing, give thanks for his service, and draw our own lessons from his long life about how we can live better lives. And may the celebrations of Yom Ha'atzmaut remind us all of the power that we have, the power of Me'ayin Yavo Ezri.